You know that text message you get? Your package couldn't be delivered? Or maybe an investment tip that just seems a little too good to be true? Well, what if I told you that message wasn't sent from some boring office, but from a fortified compound in Myanmar? A compound that's literally being bombed right now. Yeah, this is the wild, violent story of the billion-dollar scam factories. I mean, look at it. From a distance, it almost looks like some new tech campus or a resort. But don't let that fool you. Behind those walls is KK Park, a city built for one purpose and one purpose only: transnational cybercrime. It's a major hub in an industry that's stealing billions from people just like you all over the world. And just recently, this secret world got blown wide open. And I mean that literally. Which brings us to our first section: bombs at the scam factory. So, starting in late October, forces allied with Myanmar's military junta launched a massive bombing campaign right on KK Park. And we're not talking about small stuff. These were powerful explosives going off up to 4 times a day and night, just shaking this whole criminal enterprise to its core. And as you can imagine, that bombing sparked a huge exodus. In just a few days, almost 2,000 foreign workers, 1989 to be exact, from 28 different countries, had to flee for their lives, scrambling across the river into neighboring Thailand. Now, this wasn't some neat, contained operation. The violence was literally spilling across the border. Thai villagers living nearby started reporting shrapnel raining down on their homes, shattering their ceilings. This wasn't some faraway conflict. For them, it was happening right in their backyards. And this quote from a local Thai villager just says it all. They weren't saying, hey, stop the crackdown. They were saying, please find a less terrifying way to do it. They wanted the authorities to bring in bulldozers and machinery, not drop bombs that put their families at risk. So what exactly was in this place that they were bombing? Let's peel back the curtain. Time for Section 2, inside the notorious KK Park. On paper, KK Park is called a special economic zone. Right. In reality, it's a heavily armed, fortified city-state of crime. It's tucked away in a border region of Myanmar, where years of conflict have left a total power vacuum. There's basically no government oversight, which makes it the perfect place to build a criminal empire, complete with its own casinos and entertainment. And the business they were running? It was a full-service factory of deception. After authorities seized, get this, over 10,000 pieces of electronic equipment, they found evidence of everything you can imagine. We're talking sophisticated investment scams, romance and crypto cons, sextortion, you name it, they were doing it. But here's the crazy part. To run a global scam operation from the middle of a remote jungle, you need one crucial thing: fast internet. And boy, did they have it. Investigators found hundreds of smuggled Starlink satellite terminals on the rooftops, giving them a high-speed pipeline to run their scams across the entire planet. So who were all the people working in these scam centers? This is where the story gets really, really complicated. Let's dig into it. Section 3, the workers, trafficked or willing. Just look at this chart of the people who fled. It tells you everything you need to know about how international this was. The biggest group came from India, but you see people from all over Asia and Africa. It shows just how wide these criminal recruiters cast their net. And this creates a massive headache for law enforcement. Because on one side, you have clear victims of human trafficking, people tricked with fake job offers, passports taken, and forced to work under the threat of torture. But on the other side, you have volunteers, people who were lured in by salaries of up to $1,400 a month, which is an absolute fortune back home. It makes it almost impossible to tell who's a victim and who's a willing criminal. And the stories from the true victims, they're just gut-wrenching. Listen to this, from a 19-year-old kid named Yotor who managed to escape. He said, I received shock, electric shock, every day. We were working for 18 hours without salary. That's the horrifying reality for the people trapped inside these walls. So, a military bombing campaign, thousands of scammers on the run. Sounds like a huge win for the good guys, right? Well, the story is not that simple. Let's get into Section 4, a crackdown under suspicion. Okay, so here's the official timeline of what went down. Militias show up, then explosions start, thousands are detained, the bombing ramps up, and finally, foreign governments fly their citizens home. On the surface, it looks like a clean, decisive operation. So, was this really a decisive blow to organized crime? According to the people actually on the ground, the answer is a hard no. This quote comes from a scam worker in another compound, just a few miles away. His take? The whole thing was just for show, a performance. And here's the dead giveaway. The second that thousands of experienced scammers poured out of KK Park, what did the neighboring scam hubs do? Did they run and hide? Nope. They saw a golden opportunity and started a recruitment rush to hire all that newly available talent. So what's really going on here? Well, analysts think the whole raid was carefully choreographed. See, Myanmar's government is under huge pressure from China to do something about these scam centers because they often target Chinese citizens. Insiders even report that some of these unemployed scammers were literally sold to other compounds for tens of thousands of dollars. The business isn't ending, it's just moving down the road. And that brings us to the final, sobering point. KK Park, as bad as it is really just one node in a much, much bigger network. This is Section 5, the global scam web. At the end of the day, it's all about the money. The United Nations estimates that this whole illicit industry pulls in tens of billions of dollars a year. With that kind of cash flowing, these operations are incredibly hard to kill. And this problem is so much bigger than just Myanmar. You've got massive hubs in Cambodia, you have centers in Ghana specifically targeting Americans. The model is spreading everywhere. And the one thing that connects them all? Widespread corruption and officials who are allegedly paid to look the other way, which just paralyzes any real effort to stop them. Which really leaves us with one final, very tough question. When the crime pays in the billions, when the network spans the entire globe, and when complicity might go all the way to the top, who on earth actually has the power or even the will to shut this whole thing down for good?